Welcome to class summit. So we're going to be making the upper part of this dress. This is a skirt and blouse, off shoulder with strap. Okay, so I'm using this particular fabric. This is the lining actually, the other one is the fabric. So I'm marking the border line where my shoulder, the neckline is going to start. Okay, we're using a free hand and I'm going to be doing -4. Okay, so you push your tape rule out from the borderline by -4 or -5 and mark your bust length, under bust, the waist half length and the length of the blouse. Okay, so all this that I've marked, I'm going to rule them across like so. Okay, so if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being here once again. If you're a new person, please endeavor to subscribe and leave a comment depending on what you appreciate. Okay, so at the bust line, I'm going to mark my bust span measurement, divide by 2 plus ½ inch. Remember, this is on the fabric. Bust span divided by 2 plus ½ inch, which will be the sewing allowance. I will equally mark it at the upper part, right? And then I'm going to use my ruler to rule a straight line on it, like so. Then at the under bust, okay, remember this is on fold. At the under bust, I'm going to take away my dart from the left hand side. I'm marking 1 inch, the other side I'm marking ½ an inch, altogether 1½ inch. You can do more than this. You can take 1½ from the other side and 3/4 of an inch from this other side, and it will be very fine. Okay, this is not a very firm tightening. Okay, so I'll connect them this way. Whatever it is I have on the under bust, I'll be taking it down to the waistline. And even to the length of the blouse. It's just so simple. Like I said, on the under bust, you can decide to tighten it more. Now at the upper part, I'm taking 1 inch on both sides, which is the neckline area, to tighten the upper bust. 1 inch on both sides. Later which I'm going to connect it to the bust points. Now for the neckline, I'm going to be marking 3 inches to the first dart, then shift it to the next dart, and I'll be marking 5 inches, which is the width of the neckline that I want. If you want it to fall off the shoulder very well, you can increase it to 6 inches or 6.5 inches. From there, I'm going to mark my depth of armhole. Remember, we have -4 already, so once you keep the -4, you then take what is remaining for your armhole, and from there I'm going to connect to the armhole, the depth of the armhole. Remember not to make it too curvy. Okay, this is quite simple to understand. All you have to do is follow it step by step. So I'm going to mark my bust divide by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, so once we've marked that, we're equally going to be marking the under bust. Divide your under bust circumference by 4 plus the dart intake that you've taken. You add it and then add 1 inch for your seam allowance. The same thing applies to the waist. Divide into 4 and mark. Then mark the dart intake that you've taken, add it back, and then add 1 inch for seam allowance. Okay, the same thing applies to the waistline. to the lower part of the blouse. Okay, just slant it this way. Now we're gradually coming to the end of this. It's remaining the neckline that we're going to be connecting. Now the depth, the curve for the neck depth, I'm going to be marking 1 inch down. That is a sweetheart neckline, and I'm going to be connecting it to the first upper bust dart leg, like so. I just want to be sure that it's going to match once I finish cutting it. Okay, so what is left is to connect the neckline to the bust, the two 1 inch that we took. We're going to be connecting it to the bust this way, to the bust point. You can see the way it goes. This is just quite simple to do if you take your time and look at it properly. I'm just blending so that I do not have a pointed edge around the bust point. Remember, I did -4. Yours can be -5, as in taking your tape rule out by -5 or -5.5, depending on how deep you want it to be. The same thing to the armhole. You know the depth of the armhole that you want. Here I used 9 inches. Yours could be 8 or 8.5. You can divide your shoulder into 2 plus 1 inch to get the depth of your armhole, or you can divide your bust by 6 plus 1.5 to get the depth of your armhole. Whatever it is, remember what you minus, place your tape the same way and mark the depth of your armhole. Okay, so like I said before, this is the lining. Once I finish cutting everything out, I'll transfer it to the main fabric, and then we can start sewing it. Okay, this is quite easy and simple. Freehand directly on the fabric. It can save a lot of time if you know what you're doing. Okay, so I'm just going to transfer to the fabric, and after which I will join them together, adding my stay, and I think I used just stay to do this. No wording was attached to it. Okay, so for the back side, this is what we're going to do. 1 inch is already out for the zipper allowance, and then I'll place the front parts, the center fronts and the side on the fabric. Okay, I'll use the pin to hold it down so that it does not shift. Now on the back, I'm going to take in that 0.75 on both sides, which means I'll locate the center of the dart, and then I'll mark 0.75 on both sides, making it 1.5 inch, which is almost what we have, or just what we have for the front. In this case, I will not be slanting. I'll just take it straight to the bust point, which is the difference between the back and the front. You can see the way it is. From there, I'm going to connect to the upper part. Okay, now on the upper part, I'm not going to be taking away anything. I'll just leave it the way it is. And then I'll mark what I marked for the front neck width, which was around 5 inches or thereabouts. Okay, so I'll just measure it from the zipper line down to wherever it stops, so that when I close the front neck width or the dart intake, it will align together with the back neckline. So the armhole for the front and back are just going to be the same. Okay, they're just going to be the same. So closing it now, you see where the marking is. You can see where it is, right? They are just on the same line. I hope this is making sense to you. If it is, please kindly give this video a thumbs up, share it, make a comment in the comment section. And if you've not subscribed, please kindly subscribe for more interesting videos. So this is what we have for the back. Now for the back neckline, I'm just going to slant it down a bit just to give it a nice shape at the back instead of standing um, just being so straight. Okay, so I'm going to cut it out, equally cut out the dart. If you're used to making this on your pattern, this is another idea that you can just try it out and see how it goes. You can use a smaller fabric to try it and see how it fits on your body. If it is okay, then you can go ahead and use it, especially when there is an emergency and you need to finish up as soon as possible. But remember, I prefer to draft on the paper before cutting. That is actually what I've come to be used to. Okay, this is more like going to be a free dress, and I decided to use my free hand to do it. Okay, so I've ironed my stay on it. At the bust area, I doubled the stay. There was no wording on it. So I just doubled the stay, which is also going to stand properly. So after ironing, I joined, and the lining also together with the fabric, I joined the same way. Now I'm going to be coupling the fabric to the lining. I will sew it at the lower parts, and then I also join the neckline. Okay, so I've joined the lower parts, I've joined the neckline, leaving the armhole and the zipper area. In the next video, we're going to be looking at the strap. Okay,